All right, everyone. Our final module for this season will revolve around overtime and its procedures. Since we're getting into tournament play, it's important to know how we're going to break ties. So let's talk about overtime. Anytime you end the fourth period with a tie score, this will be our procedure for the overtime periods. So the first thing you're going to do is make sure you bring every player and coach involved in the game to the center of the field to explain in brief the procedure for overtime. Let them know how the overtime period works, answer any questions they may have, and then once that's done, you'll send everybody back to their sidelines except the captains. You'll need to keep the captains out there because we're going to have a coin toss before we get started in the overtime period. For that coin toss, the visiting captain will call the toss. It should be the same captain that called the toss at the beginning of the game. The winner of that coin toss will choose either to start on offense, start on defense, or they'll choose the end of the field. And the end of the field that they choose is important because whatever is chosen at that coin toss time, that's the direction we'll be playing all overtime periods. So if they choose the south end and we play 5 overtimes, we will always play all overtime periods towards that south end. We will never ask again if we want to change ends of the field. Important to note that the loser gets the other option. So if the winning team chooses offense, the loser gets to pick the end of the field. If the winner picks end of the field, the loser picks offense or defense. An individual period in overtime consists of a series by each team. So Team A gets the ball, then Team B gets the ball. That is a full period, series by each team. Each team's series will start first and goal from B's 10-yard line. That will always be the case unless there's a penalty that has enforcement that will move the ball to start from some other yard line. Important also to note that each team has one timeout during the entire overtime session. So as soon as the referee blows the ready for play for the first play of the first series in the first overtime period, if either team calls a timeout, they have no more timeouts for the remainder of the game, regardless of how many periods we play. The object of any team in overtime is to score a touchdown during their series, and once that occurs, tries will be attempted as normal following touchdowns. It's important to note that there is no point at which a team is required to go for 2. We're never going to mandate that as part of flag football. Doesn't matter if we're in the second overtime, 5th overtime, 8th overtime, they can go for whatever they like. The goal line will always be the zone line to gain in overtime. It doesn't matter, regardless of penalties where the ball may be. If A has a first down behind the 20-yard line, it will be goal to gain. It will never be 20 to gain. For example, let's say that through a series of penalties, A is snapping the ball with a first down at B's 30-yard line. It will be first and goal from the 30. Even if an automatic first down foul is committed by B, and the 20 is the line in front, we basically, in overtime, treat the 20s and the 40 like they don't exist. We will always consider it to be goal to gain in overtime period. Additionally, if B gains possession of the ball during any down, the ball is dead and A's series is over. This means that Team B cannot return an interception or a fumble recovery for a touchdown. So as soon as B gains possession of the ball, the play is over. If we come to the end of a period and the score is tied, we will play an additional period, and we will continue to do that until we end an overtime period and the score is not tied. Important to note that the team that wins the overtime coin toss has the offense-defense option in all odd-numbered periods, 1st, 3rd, 5th, etc. The team that loses that coin toss has the offense-defense option in all even-numbered periods, 2nd, 4th, 6th, etc. So it's going to be important to record on your game card the team that won the overtime coin toss, because we're going to go back to them each odd-numbered period to determine whether they want to start on offense or defense, and we'll do the opposite for the team that lost the toss. Penalties are enforced similarly to the way they would be done during regulation. Important to note here that any B foul that carries an automatic first down will result in a new series of 4 downs for A. I know this list is a lot shorter than it has been in the past. Just know that if B commits an automatic first down foul, it will now be first and goal for A again, regardless of where the ball is left on the field. This is a very easy example. It's 2nd and goal from the 10 during a pass into the end zone. Team B commits defensive pass interference. we will enforce the penalty half the distance to the goal, and we will replay second down. The big enforcement difference occurs with fouls during scoring plays. It's important to note that succeeding spot fouls that occur during the last play of the game, the last play of an overtime period, or dead ball fouls that occur after the last play of the game or overtime period can be carried into overtime. There is an exception to that. That exception is if a touchdown is scored on that play in which one of those previous 3 fouls occurred, the penalty can only be enforced on the try. So let's say we're in the last play of the 4th period. And as time expires, Team A scores a touchdown and then spikes the ball. So we have a flag for unsportsmanlike conduct. Or Team A scores a touchdown, but Team B is guilty of roughing the passer, and no time remains. Since we wouldn't know whether or not overtime is going to happen until after that try, the only place for either of those penalties to be enforced is on the try. However, if that foul had occurred on the try down, that foul could be carried into the overtime period or subsequent overtime periods. Important to note, the dead ball fouls that follow a touchdown and occur prior to the try have to be enforced on the try. So again, Team A scores a touchdown, spikes the ball. The only place to enforce that penalty is on the try. But a dead ball foul that follows a successful try shall be penalized from the succeeding spot. So I score the successful try. Now I'm up 8 points. At the end of my series, I spike the ball. We have a flag for unsportsmanlike conduct. That penalty can be enforced from the succeeding spot to start my opponent's series. In this case, it would be half the distance to the goal, and it would be 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. Also important to note that a foul by B on a successful try would also be able to carry forward into the succeeding series. So if we have defensive pass interference on a successful try, we could enforce that 10-yard penalty to start that team's series. It would now be 1st and goal from the 20-yard line. So it's important to note that if that foul occurs on a touchdown or prior to the try, the only enforcement option is to enforce that penalty on the try. Once the try has started, if the try is successful and we have a foul by B, or the try has been successful and we have a dead ball foul by either team, those penalties can be carried over to the succeeding spot. I hope this module clarifies our overtime procedure as we get ready for tournament play. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Keep up the great work. Good luck in the postseason.